And welcome back to another Fortnite Battle Royale video. In this video, we're going to be talking about and giving you guys some tips and tricks on how to win solo games and how to win build fights and use building to stay alive under pressure, outbuild your enemies, and just simply win the game by using your building skills and other stuff like that. In this game, I get completely under pressure in a little bit here, and I kill off quite a few players at once, and that's going to happen in a solo game in Season 7, so you need to be able to play under pressure, play aggressive, and be confident in your building. If you guys could smack a like on this video, I would very, very much appreciate that. Let's go for 2,000 likes on this video. I know it's quite a bit to ask for, but you guys have smashed 2,000 likes before, and I would appreciate that if we could hit that. Also, of course, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and a huge, massive shout out to everyone using the item shops have been crazy over like Christmas, the holiday season, all of December pretty much, or like the latter part of December. So everyone using my supporter creator, the Goblin YT in the item shop, huge shout out to you. Shout out to the notification gang as well in the comments. I know they're commenting down below, and let's get right into this. So basically, this video is I make some nice plays, and this is a 13 kill solo win that I got last night over on my Facebook stream. I stream Fortnite over on Facebook sometimes, and my link is facebook.com/GreenGoblinHD. It's down in the description. So right here, basically what I'm doing is I'm weak, and I had the choice to either Portal Rift out of here or take on this fight and try to get shields or whatever he had. Of course, I decided to take on the fight because if I Portal Rift out of there, sure, I can stay alive, but I mean, I'd have to rotate somewhere random and hope that it was unlooted, and, you know, that would just be the case. So right here off the start, it was a pretty bad, I'm not gonna lie, this was a bad start to a game. I end this game with a 13 kill solo win, and it wasn't looking good at all right now. I have 5 weapon inventory, well, not 5 weapon inventory, but the 5 non-heal inventory, which is not what you want. Luckily, I get a free kill on this guy who was just farting around with a balloon. I don't know what he was doing up there. Probably just went for the chest and was trying to organize his inventory. That's why you don't want to ever stand still for like more than like half a second in this game, and at this point I'm just looting and making sure I have all of the correct weaponry, and I'm looking for shields desperately because this is where, like, I always say to have a plan in the game, and at this point in the game my plan was, I have 100 health and we're in the top 30 and I have a couple, like 3 kills. I want to win this game, but I'm gonna need shield to win this game, and there's 2 ways of getting shield mainly. It's either, well, there's 3 ways I guess: looting, going to somewhere where there's like mushrooms, like Dusty Divot or the forest or something like that, or going for kills. So I find these minis and I'm like, okay, that's good to go. I'm going to Portal Rift and I'm going to go over to where I think the action's going to be. If you can never find, if you're having trouble finding action and it was like a normal bus route, the zone is moving towards the middle, Salty Springs is that, it's like the mid-game Tilted Towers. For some reason, all of the rotations, I mean, well, obviously because it's around the middle of the map, pretty much all of the rotations draw themselves and draw players towards this area. And this is where the gunfights and the build fights really start to heat up, and this is where I'm going to talk to you guys about how I was able to survive under this pressure and win these build fights. So the first guy here, I obviously see, he doesn't look like he's the smartest, just the way he's crouch walking, he backs into a corner. So I want to, of course, get this kill on this guy. He's trying to use dynamite to blow us up. It knocks us down. The one thing you want to do in any build fight is take that height advantage by putting that ramp right above them so they can't build out of their 1x1. I do that and we are good to go. Next thing I realize is I have another player on me, and this guy is using a balloon. So what I try to do is, you can actually outbuild, if you're a fast builder, you can actually take high ground faster than a person in the balloon can just by floating up. Depending on how many balloons they have, usually people on the low ground will only have 1 or 2. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I want to take this guy down in the fight, but I'm also getting shot at from another angle. And this is where I'm just trying to sound whore, make sure I can hear where this enemy's at, and I'm not really, I don't have to be building because we're both playing the low ground at this point, and it's sort of a peekaboo on the low ground, playing some games with this guy, and I'm waiting right here to get the perfect angle. This is, this is not ideal, because fights like that, this is where I realize, I don't want to fight like this on the ground 50-50. I think I can outbuild this guy, so I'm going to challenge him to a build fight. Right there, I get high ground on him, I hit him for 175, get high ground again, hit him for 121, and that was simply just because I was a faster builder than that guy, and this guy right here drops in on me, and this is what I'm talking about. The pressure is on, and when the pressure is on, I don't want to take that fight again. Sure, I could have maybe shotgunned him in the face and won that gunfight right there, but with 125 health, I don't want to take these 50-50s. I want to be fighting when I know I'm a decent builder, or a better builder than a lot of these players in this game that I'm fighting against right now. I want to make sure that I have the high ground when I take on that fight. The reason why I dropped in on that guy is, well, first of all, I didn't expect him to be expecting that so well, so he hit me for damage there, which kind of sucks. But also because there's third parties and fourth parties, and you'll realize when people are building, when people are spraying from all sorts of places, and that's how you sort of react. So you can see here this whole fight, I pretty much had high ground on most of these enemies. People are trying to take balloons up to me, people are trying to do everything, and the reason I'm so comfy up here on this high ground is because we are up on top of a building. So in order to take down our builds, they either have to shoot down the builds that are on top of it, which is pretty much all over the place, or take down the whole entire building, which is not going to happen unless they have dynamite. More realistically, they would shoot it off the top. But you can see there how I was able to use building, and even though I fought multiple enemies, and sure, those enemies, like, one or two of them were probably decent builders, decent players. Those guys were not, they weren't all superstars, but that's going to happen in public matches, and you have to be able to win gunfights against good players where you have to build up against them, and win gunfights quickly against players that aren't the best. So once again here, I'm getting out of here with 7 kills, and I'm able to heal up to full, and I realized at this point, I'm playing a pretty good game. I won some nice build fights right there, and I still have a bunch of shields, and when I have 3 minis, 2 big pots, when I have that many shields, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to fight more. And this guy gets shots on me, and once again, what do? This guy is the type of player that's like a spammer. He doesn't want to build fight you, but he will spray at your builds with his bullets to try to shoot you down. All you have to do against a person like this is get high ground and then drop down when they're not expecting it. Once again, right here, I was just too cocky to drop down on that player. I'd only hit him for 30. And this is something that's a problem. Like, after I'd beaten, whatever, 4 gunfights in a row there, or whatever, I had 7 kills in a row right there, I was confident, so I thought I could take out that gunfight really quick. I also knew there was another party coming in. There is that other party. I dropped down on him, and you could see, that's what I was trying to do on the first guy. Dropping down and hitting that shot isn't a bad idea, but you have to be confident in your shot. Know that you have to do it to push the tempo, and also know that the enemy is not expecting it. That's the main thing. So eventually we get out of here with 8 kills. You can see how I was using building and smart decision making to win the majority of those fights. Now, not every single one of those fights was a build fight necessarily, but players were trying to get up to my height, however they were doing it, balloons or anything like that. Right here we get into another fight, and this is where we're top 8, and I recognize there's a player over here who is moving in with the zone. Now, this is what the type of fights you want to have, because look, I rotated early, I set up early, this guy did not set up early, and I have the advantage because of that. I completely just whiff on my dropping down, but it's not a big deal. Run onto this guy, put the pressure on him, and I'm able to win that gunfight. So that's how all these gunfights are basically working. This guy makes a really cheesy play, and it's a smart play where they basically glide in and take over your builds that you already have. And you can see here how I win this build fight against this guy and take high ground. Basically, I realize I have high ground right now, and as soon as he starts to build and try to retake it, what do? I just match his builds. If I have the high ground already, he can't build and just overtake me that easily. And of course, I apply the pressure. And once people are in the air, if you have, if you play on console and you have aim assist, or if you have a good weapon, like I have the purple scar, obviously, once people are in the air, they're sort of sitting ducks, and you can sort of just hold down that trigger and do work. Once again here, another player coming in on me, and immediately my first instinct is always to build up. And I like to call that, that's just the way you do it. That's the reason why, a lot of good players, or players who were good at the game earlier, when a couple, maybe 7 or 8 months ago, when not everyone was a good builder, there were people that would just build up and take the verticality. And you can see here, in pretty much the majority of these fights, I'm not really shooting up from the low ground, which can work sometimes, and if you are losing a build fight, that's how you have to fight. But in the majority of this time, I did a good job in this game of staying above my enemies, making sure I'm on something that's secure. Like right up here, have connected, I think, 2 bases down below me or something, and the jump pad was there also. So if someone started to shoot at me, I had the emergency plan to jump on that jump pad and get away. So right here, once again, I'm in the good position. I hit this guy. I see white damage, which means blue damage means you're hitting them for shield. It's the start of their shield damage. White means that there's some health in there. So when I hit them for white, the enemy is going to be weak, right? So I hit this guy for white. I realize he's weak. He's trying to snipe me. I have a jump pad, and when someone's trying to snipe you back like that, that means they're a decent player. So usually when you come down to the top 10, like top 3 right here, I realize, okay, this guy is a decent player. I want to put the pressure on him, and that's what I do. And I didn't hear him sneaking up on me on the left there. I'm not sure why I didn't hear him. Probably because I was pickaxing the builds, and that's something you have to watch out for. And then once again, this last guy starts to shoot at me, and it's a building just to block him off. And I'm trying to delay, take my time here by just building to block this guy so that I can pop my 50 pot. That's my goal. And then once I pop that 50 pot, it looks like he actually has to come to me anyway, while we both sort of have to move to the next zone. But that's sort of what happens. And in this last gunfight with this guy, I almost mess up this gunfight. You can see here, I try to build, and this is where the game can kind of screw you. You can see here I'm on like that natural step, so I get stuck under my ramp, and at this point I'm like, okay, I gotta reset here, and this is the classic move you'll do to take over high ground, which is a 180 spin. It's sort of like a 90, but it'll be a 180. This guy's sort of a spammer as well. He gets some shots in on me. He has the quad launcher, and he's got me a little bit weak. Now, I realize we have to move in with the storm, and this is a scenario you'll see me in a lot late game. And how you want to do this scenario late game, as he cracks me through the split hole in that wall there, which is really disappointing, is once again, I'm staying above them. They can take the high ground or the low ground. Sometimes, sure, I'll play low ground if I have to tunnel, like I would be tunneling, but when I can stay above them and I'm only a couple floors above, so there's no fall damage I have to worry about, you know, I basically won this game because of my ability to build and maintain high ground